actually did a short of it the other day. It's called Casa de Tavares. Um, but yeah, today I want to talk about how to find your free. Like, what exactly is that? That's what I call this channel. And, mostly this channel has always kind of catered to women and mothers that are interested in just finding a more freed up lifestyle, right? Ok, tá bom. Eu vou tentar. One moment, guys. The peixe do dia. Qual peixe
Sim.
tem?
Peixe do dia é o dourado.
Yama. Vou fazer isso o PF.
Ok. O peixe do dia ele demora um pouquinho.
Ou demora?
Demora um pouquinho porque ele vai no forno.
Mais que o frango?
Mais que o frango.
Ok, vamos fazer frango, porque
Tá,
você
tá
sabe, estou trabalhando.
Uhum.
Obrigada.
Nada. Ó, o nosso PF ele também acompanha o ovo frito. Você tem preferência no ponto da gema?
Frito ou o quê?
Frito. Ovo frito. Gema mole ou
tem que
gema
pagar
dura?
um pouco mais?
Não. É só pra saber o ponto da gema. Gema dura ou gema mole do ovo.
O que você está dizendo?
A gema. Sabe a gema do
Gema?
ovo? Isso, ovo frito.
Sim.
Aí-
Ovo. Duro.
Ah, gema dura?
Sim.
Tá, ok.
Obrigada. Yes, y'all. So, we find for women, this channel has always been about, how to bring in more of a freedom into your lifestyle, into your reality, but also identifying the things that are, kind of causing some blockage around you being able to access and tap more of that freedom. And so today I want to talk about one of those things. To me, there's about 5 core items, 5 core blockages to women's freedom in particular that I want to. And the first one is the need to identify that ceiling, okay, that freedom ceiling, right? Okay, and so in order to bring in more freedom as a woman, as a person, it's important that you identify certain things, and that's not identifying as the enemy, your job or the city you live in or the, the country you're in right now, okay? That those are the defaults. Those are the things that you've been defaulting to in the creation of this kind of a lifestyle that's becoming kind of like a prison, okay? So the actual defaults are these situations we've set up: the mortgage, the grocery expenses, the fear around the children and the schools they're going through, the erosion of ourselves, okay? These are the things that are the defaults that we have kept defaulting to, that we continue to choose over and over again, that's causing us to lack, certain fluidity and freedom in our lifestyles. And so here on this actual YouTube channel is just all about, helping women bring in more of that. Hi, Bold Tingy. Hi, I Love Megan. Greetings. Thank you for coming through. Okay, so one of the things that's for sure is that no one actually wakes up and really just chooses the way their life is going to look necessarily for that day, right? So what has happened is there's been a series of choices, thousands and so many choices. Sim, pode. Thousands of choices. No, preciso. Obrigada. Thank you. Over time. For those of y'all who are new to this channel, I live in Brazil. My name's Tanya, or Imara. Most people know me as imaraifawuyi. And we live in São Paulo, Brazil. And we have a beautiful life here in São Paulo. So we're just out having a quick lunch. And I wanted to just build on this. And of course, again, my target audience is the ladies, because this channel has always been for the women, right? So there are a series of choices that we've been making to create, the reality, obrigada, that we live in right now. And, it's the same thing with freedom. It works similarly, It's not one big leap. It's actually, identifying these core issues, these core things that are blocking our ability to navigate and to live our lives according to, our own agency. Okay, it's those things that we need to get a handle on so we can truly have, the life that we want, right? So the first thing I tell women, when I'm talking to my friends and other women that I'm dealing with, is that it's really important that we identify what that freedom ceiling is for us, okay? And that freedom ceiling could be anything that's the major constraint or the grouping of things that are constraining you from having the life that you really want to be experiencing and living, the one you've been dreaming about, the one that you go to sleep thinking about, that lifestyle. The freedom ceiling. What is the freedom ceiling? So, in a lot of ways, this could be it could be a number of things. For a lot of people, it's finances. Issues around finances. You don't have a lot of liquidity. You don't have a lot of fluidity in your life because maybe your finances are tapped into a job role that's in a particular place, and there's just a lot of restrictions and constraints around your lifestyle as it pertains to finances, right? Okay, that can be one. Another, really common constraint and ceiling that a lot of us face is geographic. So it is where we are right now. If you're living in the U.S., I know a lot of people are feeling a sense of major constriction and restraint and oppression living in the U.S. right now. Okay, so for those who are there daydreaming about moving to Mexico, moving to Brazil, moving to East Africa, moving to Portugal, those daydreams about these different places is because you know that lifestyle there is not, it's not working for you. It's not providing you with that sense of agency to maneuver the way you want on a day-to-day basis and just live free in nature, in beauty, with luxury, or whatever it is you're seeking, right? And so we know for a fact most of us just are not living that in the U.S. right now. I mean, there are some very lucky people. Maybe they're content creators. Maybe they're, people who have become very successful in the online space and they're making enough money to have that luxury lifestyle, even if in the U.S. But at the end of the day, it's not that common. And I think that is something that we can agree to. And so, beyond just finances and geography itself, we also have some of the psychological stuff. Those ceilings that we create here in our minds, the psychological ceilings. The biggest one usually being fear. Fear is a huge psychological ceiling that so many of us deal with. What if this? What if that? What if I leave and I have to come back? What if I leave and I lose, a lot of my community? I don't have that community to tap into. What if I move abroad and something bad happens to me? What if I go out there and I'm uncomfortable? I don't understand the system and I get confused and make a mistake and something terrible takes place. There's a lot of fear that we walk with, especially as women. And so it's really important that, we start to face the reality of these fears that we place upon ourselves, that we cause, ourselves to actually be hamstrung by, because it's the fear, it's the psychological stuff that I think is the most powerful and the most oppressive of all. And the last ceiling that I can think of that I know a lot of people, especially women, deal with major ceiling, especially for women, is the relational ceiling. That not just your partner, a relationship you're in, but also a co-parent that you are having to stay connected to, that's keeping you bound to a certain location, keeping you bound to a certain country because you can't move around free with your children because there's a co-parent involved. Community, can be a big issue in this relational piece, because sometimes you're just scared to leave what you've already built, what you've already established. And lastly, that parents, having family, having parents that are going to be aging, that have a real strong sense that you'll be the one that's going to have to take up the slack and help them to continue to thrive as they get older, whether that means as a caretaker or whatever. And so all of these are real issues that affect and block a lot of women, especially, I've noticed. Okay. Ooh, she's bringing me a nice lunch. Obrigada.
Sim,
Perfect. Oh. Yes.
equilibrar.
Perfect. Obrigada. Yeah, so what I was saying was relational. A lot of us have, these things that are hanging over our head. Women are responsible for everyone. It's so much of the time we're taking up the slack. We're taking care of everyone. the children, the parents, the cousins, the aunties, the siblings, you know what I'm saying, your own children, your husband, which usually for a lot of women ends up being the biggest burden. Is having a man or a partner in your life that's super demanding of your time, your energy, and a lot of times doesn't give back on the level that they should to make sure that you aren't having to overstress yourself to keep things going, right? So a lot of women are just feeling, that's why you're seeing a lot of women are diving out of these relationships right now, getting out of that oppressive situation and really, really trying to figure out how they can bring in more freedom, more love, more life, more flow, right? And so I really think it's important that you start to identify and write down what these things are that are serving as ceilings for your freedom. You have to know it first. If you don't know what's blocking you, how do you know how to move around it? And it's not that hard to know because, I mean, we see it in our day to day. You know if you got a toxic, burdensome relationship. You know if this co-parenting situation has got you feeling like you can't move, you can't do nothing. You know if you're in a stuck situation and maybe in a community that is there and you're grateful for it, but at the same time you want to grow past it. You want to have different experiences than just that. And so all of these things, you don't have to look at them necessarily as blocks, but they're ceilings. They're there. They're present. And once you identify them, it starts to open up more possibility for you because you know that once I can start to, resolve these things, create solutions for these things, then I will be able to kind of move past them. They won't be there affecting things. Once I get these finances where I can be mobile with them, where I can, make money on the go, where I can have money coming in via YouTube, via Instagram, via whatever it is you're doing online, through Shopify, through having a stand store, through making digital products, whatever it is you're doing, once you get that piece solved, boom, you move on to the next piece. Okay, I've got, this geography situation. I know I need a shift. I know I need a better experience. I know that I deserve a better life than this. This is a story for a lot of people in the U.S. right now. If you, are identifying these things, it puts you one step closer to being able to resolve them because everything is about coming up with solutions, figuring out a way to get around things. What you pass on? Figuring out a way to get around things, figuring out back doors. I'm not backdoor queen in that way, but I'm someone who, if I experience an issue, I'm going to look for ways around it, and I might not come through the front door. I might figure out another type of solution that is a hack for it, that allows me to have what it is I'm trying to get, right? And that's not to be diabolical with anything or anything like that, but to also be very creative and very resourceful. And as women, we are the most resourceful beings on the planet. So it's no reason to act like we can't come up with solutions for these so-called ceilings once we've identified them. So, I just wanted to share that briefly, just because I know that, people who are coming to this channel, I know that free is in the channel name. So I know folks are looking to hear more about how they can loosen up and let go of things in their lives and move into a space where they are able to have, just like a lifestyle that feels like a dream. Sometimes I feel like I'm dreaming here in Brazil. My life is so good. I haven't mastered all the steps yet myself, but I'm getting there. And my life is so good here in Brazil. Like that. I mean, I don't even know what to say sometimes to people when I hear them complaining about being in the U.S., complaining about where they're at, feeling like, a sense of kind of sadness or depression around things like that. I'm like, I cannot complain about anything, but it's the life that I'm creating. And this is the life that I'm obsessed with having. I won't take nothing less than, absolute sovereignty and freedom, period. And so you got to be like that about it, to be honest with you. So for those of you who are interested in continuing in this conversation, I'm going to do a part 2. I'm going to talk about the other steps to finding your free, the other steps to, identifying the things in your life that are causing your energy to not be able to flow, for you not to be able to access all parts of who you are and what you're capable of, okay? So we will get into that further at another time. But thank you so much for coming on and doing this 15 minutes with me. Part 2 coming up. Peace and